Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this important update from SSA Secure Benefits, where we focus on providing clear and reliable information for those who depend on essential financial supports in their daily lives. If you are among the millions of Americans who rely on Social Security benefits, Supplemental Security Income, Social Security disability insurance, Veterans Affairs benefits, or if you are a widow or widower, a caregiver assisting with these matters, or a disabled individual managing on a fixed income, this message is directed specifically to you as we navigate a critical period that has just begun. We have now entered a significant window spanning from Sunday evening into Monday midnight, during which key developments in the payment processing system are unfolding, and it is essential to address these matters with the utmost clarity and calmness to ensure you have the facts you need. The Social Security Administration has officially confirmed the initiation of a new deposit batch for January, one that has direct implications for the timing of your payments, how and when they appear in your bank accounts, and ultimately, the stability and peace of mind this provides to countless households across the nation. Let me emphasize from the outset, because this point cannot be overstated in its importance, that if your expected funds have not yet appeared in your account, if you have heard from a neighbor or acquaintance that their payment has arrived while yours remains absent, or if your banking application indicates a status of pending or still in processing, this situation is not a reflection of any fault on your part, nor is it an indication of an error you might have made in managing your affairs. At SSA Secure Benefits, we have thoroughly reviewed the official guidance issued by the Social Security Administration, examined the release cycles managed by the United States Treasury, and studied the regulatory frameworks governing banking institutions, all so that you do not have to delve into these complex documents yourself, allowing us to distill the essential information into a straightforward explanation. Our commitment to you this evening is straightforward and unwavering. We will methodically dispel any confusion surrounding these payments, proceeding step by step in a composed manner, free from any unnecessary alarm or assignment of blame, ensuring that by the end of this discussion, you are equipped with a solid understanding of the processes at play. This update is particularly tailored for recipients of Supplemental Security Income, beneficiaries of Social Security disability insurance, retirees drawing from Social Security, widows and widowers navigating survivor benefits, those receiving Veterans Affairs payments who may also be tied into Social Security systems, and caregivers who are responsible for overseeing and managing these benefits on behalf of others, as each of these groups faces unique considerations in the current cycle. Before we proceed further into the details, if the content from SSA Secure Benefits has assisted you in any way previously, whether by clarifying a payment issue or providing reassurance during a time of uncertainty, we kindly ask that you take a brief moment to subscribe to our channel, as this support enables us to sustain our efforts in delivering these vital updates directly to you and the broader community. Additionally, while you are engaged here, we encourage you to leave a comment below sharing your city and state, as we personally review these responses, and they serve a valuable purpose in fostering a sense of connection among viewers, reminding everyone that they are not isolated in their experiences with these systems. It is crucial that you remain with us through the entirety of this presentation, as the central portion contains the most critical insights, addressing the core areas where misinformation and confusion are proliferating online at this very moment, and prematurely disengaging could mean missing out on the explanations that directly resolve the questions many are facing right now. So, let us delve into the reasons why this breaking update from the Social Security Administration, centered around the Sunday midnight developments, holds such immediate relevance, and why the atmosphere surrounding payments feels distinctly different this evening compared to more routine periods. We find ourselves in the early days of January, a month that stands out as one of the most intricate in the annual payment calendar due to a confluence of factors that intersect in ways that can complicate timelines without necessarily indicating any underlying problems. To break this down, January marks the commencement of newly adjusted benefit amounts incorporating cost of living adjustments. It is the point at which Medicare Part B premiums are initially deducted from payments for the year, Financial institutions undergo resets in their internal posting mechanisms following the end-of-year transitions, and the alignment of holidays and weekends with the Treasury's release schedules creates natural intervals in processing that manifest as gaps in visibility rather than actual absences of funds. Over the past 24 hours, the Social Security Administration has verified the deployment of a fresh deposit batch for January, specifically aligned with the standard groupings of payments. Yet, the pivotal aspect to grasp here is not merely the dispatch from the administration, but the subsequent journey these deposits undertake through the financial ecosystem, encompassing not only the initial release by the Social Security Administration, but also the decisions made by individual banks regarding when and how to reflect these funds in customer accounts. This is far from an abstract or theoretical concern for many. It directly touches on fundamental necessities such as purchasing groceries to sustain daily nutrition, covering rent obligations to maintain housing stability, acquiring essential medications to manage health conditions, and ensuring access to life-sustaining resources like oxygen supplies or insulin for those with chronic needs, all of which contribute to an overall sense of security and mental well-being that can be disrupted by even temporary uncertainties in payment arrival. If you are experiencing heightened anxiety this evening due to these timing issues, please know that such a response is entirely understandable and valid as a human reaction to circumstances that affect your core stability, and it does not signify an overreaction on your part, but rather a natural concern for matters of great personal importance. Furthermore, amid this environment, there has been a surge in unverified rumors circulating across social media platforms and online discussions, with claims ranging from purported special bonuses being distributed, emergency payments being authorized outside of standard protocols, to allegations of widespread system failures that could jeopardize benefits entirely. And our objective here at USA Secure Benefits is to methodically distinguish what is grounded in verifiable reality from what constitutes mere noise or speculation, approaching this separation with a calm and responsible demeanor to prevent the escalation of unwarranted fears. To provide a clear framework, let us differentiate between the official policy as outlined by the Social Security Administration and the practical realities that unfold in implementation, starting with the policy side, which is relatively uncomplicated on paper. The Social Security Administration initiates the transfer of payments to the United States Treasury, which in turn disseminates these funds to various financial institutions in accordance with the established payment calendar that dictates schedules based on beneficiary categories. However, the on-the-ground reality diverges somewhat from this streamlined description, as once the Treasury has executed its release, the Social Security Administration relinquishes control over the subsequent steps, leaving it to individual banks, credit unions, and other payment processors to adhere to their proprietary internal schedules for posting these deposits. This variability means that some institutions credit funds to accounts without delay upon receipt. Others impose an overnight hold for verification purposes. Certain ones defer availability until the following business day, and many display a pending status prior to making the balance fully accessible, which explains why two individuals entitled to the same type of benefit might observe their payments materializing at disparate times, despite originating from the same batch release. Once again, it bears repeating that such discrepancies arise from inherent system behaviors and operational protocols, rather than any personal mistakes or oversights on the part of the recipients themselves. Allow me to pause briefly at this juncture to anchor our discussion in a foundation of reliability. The information being conveyed this evening is not derived from personal opinions, speculative assumptions, or unsubstantiated guesswork, but is instead rooted firmly in the documented mechanisms by which the Social Security Administration disperses funds, the batching procedures employed by the Treasury for payment transmissions, and the legal obligations governing how banking entities process and post incoming deposits. Gaining this comprehension of the system's inner workings serves to diminish the influence of fear, empowering you to approach any delays without succumbing to panic, without presuming that an issue stems from your own actions, and certainly without self-blame that is both unwarranted and counterproductive. For those who may have joined this update partway through, let me offer a quick orientation to ensure you are fully aligned with the conversation thus far. we have explored the significance of this January deposit batch and the reasons why payment timing presents a unique feel this month, highlighting the distinction between the Social Security Administration's policy framework and the variable realities introduced by banking practices. And at this point, we are poised to dissect precisely how these January payments traverse the system in a sequential manner. Rest assured, you have not overlooked any vital elements, and you are precisely positioned to continue as we advance. There is no cause for alarm. We will proceed through this explanation collaboratively and methodically. Now, shifting to a more technical yet accessible breakdown presented in plain language for ease of understanding, let us examine the specifics for different benefit categories, beginning with Supplemental Security Income, where payments are ordinarily slated for the first day of the month unless that date coincides with a weekend or federal holiday, in which case adjustments are made to advance or defer as necessary to accommodate banking operations. For Social Security retirement benefits and Social Security disability insurance, the disbursement timing is generally determined by factors such as your birth date, which segments recipients into groups paid on the second, third, or fourth Wednesday of the month. Or alternatively, if you began receiving benefits prior to May 1997, you may fall into a category that receives payments earlier in the cycle, often on the third of the month, and it is this variation in grouping that frequently underlies much of the confusion observed among beneficiaries. In the context of this particular January, the developments unfolding over this weekend are as follows. The Social Security Administration has affirmed the execution of a standard batch release for the month, signifying that the Treasury has transmitted the funds to financial institutions, which are now engaged in processing these deposits, with the actual posting to individual accounts hinging on the specific rules and cutoff times upheld by each institution. Consequently, some banks opt to release funds precisely at midnight, others initiate postings around 3 in the morning, a number wait until after 8 in the morning, and certain ones delay until Monday morning when business hours resume, creating a spectrum of arrival times that can span several hours or even into the next day. This is also the juncture where the cost of living adjustment enters the equation, as your January payment incorporates the updated increase designed to account for inflation, yet it may simultaneously reflect revised Medicare premiums, deductions for any prior overpayments, offsets related to other financial obligations, or alterations in withholding amounts, which collectively mean that the net amount deposited might not immediately appear as a straightforward raise, but rather as a figure influenced by multiple concurrent adjustments. And we will explore these elements more thoroughly in the ensuing section to provide complete transparency. My fellow viewers, let us maintain our composed progression through this topic with clarity as our guide, recognizing that one of the most prevalent misunderstandings that surfaces every January revolves around the simultaneous convergence of numerous dynamic components within the payment framework. You have the application of the cost of living adjustment elevating base benefit amounts, the implementation of new Medicare Part B premium deductions that reduce the net payout for those enrolled, the resetting of bank posting thresholds following the holiday period at the end of December, and the landing of Treasury batches during a weekend interval that naturally extends processing timelines due to non-business days. Thus, when an individual reviews their deposit and observes that it does not evidently reflect the anticipated raise, or questions why the amount differs from prior months, this does not inherently signal an error or malfunction, but rather the interplay of these factors, where for many, the upward adjustment from the cost of living increase is at least partially counterbalanced by the Medicare deductions commencing in January, while for others, the enhancement is present but obscured by temporary posting delays that make the update less immediately apparent. It is vital to underscore this key distinction once more. The Social Security Administration is responsible for releasing the funds into the system, but it is the banks that determine the precise moment at which those funds become visible and accessible in your account. As the administration does not operate a centralized control mechanism to toggle deposits instantaneously, and once the Treasury has fulfilled its batch dissemination, the Social Security Administration's direct involvement concludes, shifting the onus to the financial sector. Now, turning our attention to particular demographic groups that often encounter heightened levels of confusion during January due to their unique circumstances within the benefits landscape. Let us first consider widows and widowers who are in receipt of survivor benefits, where the payment schedule may adhere to the original timeline associated with your late spouse's record, rather than your own personal details, thereby introducing variances in arrival times that can differ from what might be expected based on standard groupings. Similarly, disabled adult children whose benefits are linked to a parent's work history may find themselves assigned to a payment category distinct from that of typical Social Security disability insurance recipients, potentially leading to discrepancies in when funds are disbursed relative to peers. For couples where one partner receives supplemental security income and the other draws from Social Security, it is common for payments to arrive on separate days, a situation that can be exacerbated in January and affect household budgeting, even though both sources are integral to financial planning. Dual beneficiaries who qualify for both supplemental security income and Social Security disability insurance represent another area of frequent misunderstanding, as these entitlements do not synchronize in their posting, and the complexities of January can further elongate the interval between them, requiring careful management to bridge any gaps. Individuals who receive Veterans Affairs benefits in conjunction with Social Security face additional layers, given that Veterans Affairs operates on an independent system entirely detached from Social Security Administration oversight, meaning the latter cannot monitor, influence, or synchronize with Veterans Affairs timelines. Lastly, representative payees who administer benefits for others may experience extended processing delays when banks enforce supplementary verification protocols to ensure compliance and security, adding another potential variable to the equation. In none of these scenarios does the variation imply any wrongdoing or mishandling on the part of the individuals involved. Rather, they stem from the inherent design of the systems to accommodate diverse needs. With that foundation laid, let us now address and rectify some of the prevalent rumors that have gained traction online, as misinformation can amplify anxiety unnecessarily. And our role at USA Secure Benefits is to counteract this with factual grounding presented responsibly. You may have encountered assertions of emergency bonuses being issued by the Social Security Administration, special payments materializing at midnight for all recipients, indications of systemic failures compromising the entire framework, or even suggestions that entire checks are being omitted this month. The verifiable reality, however, is that no such emergency bonus has been confirmed or authorized. There is no evidence of a systemic collapse undermining operations, and no January batch has been skipped or withheld, as what we are observing is a routine release for the month navigating through a multifaceted infrastructure amid a weekend transition, where the complexities arise from procedural norms rather than exceptional disruptions. Misinformation tends to proliferate when uncertainty prevails, but by substituting it with accurate comprehension, we can restore a sense of control and reduce its impact. This segment is particularly crucial, so please remain attentive as we elaborate. The United States Treasury organizes and dispatches funds in structured batches, after which individual banks determine the protocols for posting those amounts, deciding whether to reflect them as pending initially, when to transition them to available status, and if holds are applied over weekends to align with operational policies. This procedural autonomy explains why one person in your community might see their deposit credited on Saturday evening, another early Sunday morning, and yet another not until Monday, without any intervention possible from the Social Security Administration to supersede bank decisions, accelerate the process, or access proprietary internal schedules that vary by institution. A pending designation does not equate to a denial of funds, nor does a processing status imply that the payment is lost or misplaced. Instead, it signifies that the mechanisms are functioning as intended, albeit not with instantaneous results that some might expect in an era of rapid digital transactions. Shifting to actionable guidance, should your payment genuinely fail to materialize within expected parameters, the first and most important step is to maintain composure and take a deep breath to approach the matter rationally. The Social Security Administration adheres to a 3-business-day guideline for deposit resolution, wherein weekends and holidays are excluded from the count, providing a buffer for standard variations. Common contributors to delays include institutional holds imposed by banks for routine processing, verifications related to account details, recent changes in address or banking information that require confirmation, adjustments tied to Medicare integrations, or recoveries for previous overpayments that are applied systematically. If after the passage of 3 complete business days, the deposit remains absent, it is advisable to contact the Social Security Administration directly, prepared with your Social Security number for identification, your current banking details for reference, and a calm request for a payment trace if deemed necessary to investigate further. There is no need to escalate into panic mode, nor to level accusations that could hinder resolution. Approaching with a focus on seeking clarity typically yields more effective outcomes from customer service interactions. My friends, I wish to emphasize at this point that these discussions extend beyond mere numerical transactions and touch upon deeply personal elements of life, including the rising costs of groceries that strain budgets, impending rent due dates that demand timely funds, refills for critical medications that cannot be postponed, utility bills for heating during colder months, the sensation of financial resources being stretched to their limits, and occasionally the emotional weight of feeling overlooked or marginalized in broader societal structures. You are far from invisible in this space. The community fostered through USA Secure Benefits recognizes and validates your experiences, and you are entitled to receive information with the dignity, transparency, and respect that befits your circumstances. To empower you further, here are several practical measures that can serve as protective safeguards. Regularly access your SSA online account to monitor status updates, confirm that your registered bank information is accurate and up to date to prevent routing errors, review your SSA 1099 form for tax-related insights if income has shifted, utilize the W-4V form if adjustments to withholding are required for better cash flow management. Consider applying for programs such as Qualified Medicare Beneficiary, Specified Low-Income Medicare Beneficiary, or Qualifying Individual to offset healthcare costs. Explore extra help initiatives for prescription drug assistance to alleviate medication expenses. Investigate eligibility for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program to support food needs and the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program for utility aid. And remain vigilant against scams by remembering that the Social Security Administration never engages in threats or requests for payments via gift cards or similar unorthodox methods. These resources are designed expressly to bolster individuals in your position, and availing yourself of them represents not a sign of vulnerability, but a strategic exercise of prudence to enhance stability. As we look forward, it is both honest and prudent to note that additional January deposits are slated to continue posting progressively over the coming business days, with some of the observed timing discrepancies likely to resolve as the cycle normalizes, though others may persist into the following month depending on recurring patterns. Any further modifications beyond this immediate horizon would hinge on ongoing operations within the Social Security Administration, scheduling protocols at the Treasury, ongoing Medicare adjustments, coordination with Veterans Affairs where applicable, and potential actions from Congress that could influence policy. But at present, no extraordinary measures are assured, and the system is operating without fundamental breakdowns. At USA Secure Benefits, we pledge to maintain vigilance and deliver ongoing updates as developments arise to keep you informed. In closing, thank you sincerely for entrusting us with your attention this evening. If this presentation has provided value or reassurance, please indicate so by commenting yes below. Share your state to build communal awareness and solidarity. Type SSA in the comments if you desire more content on these topics. Kindly share this update with anyone in your circle who might benefit from the clarity it offers during a moment of need. And if you have not already done so, subscribe to ensure you receive future notifications without interruption. Your well-being is of paramount importance. Your financial security is a priority we take seriously, and we remain committed to supporting you through these processes every step of the way. Take good care of yourselves and hold on to the knowledge that you have a reliable ally in navigating these challenges.